What's going on, you guys? Foster, and I'm back with another video. In today's video I'll be remaking my Kha'zix guide, since I am using a different build on him right now, and I think this build is way stronger than the lethality build, since lethality did get nerfed quite a bit. So I really don't find that build too useful anymore, and I switched pretty much back to an older build. But that build is, right now, I feel like it's really fucking good. So I'm just gonna go over it again and just give you guys the update on what I would do on Kha'zix and all that. So this is the rune page I use on Kha'zix. I go for 15 attack damage, flat attack damage. I go for the 4 flat armor and then some scaling HP with 5% scaling and 5% flat CDR and glyphs. I pick up the flat and scaling CDR to pretty much cap out my CDR with the way I build him, which is going to be really useful. Then I just take 15 AED to be as strong as possible early game to get as much burst damage as I can, so I can get more ganks off, which is also very beneficial. And then just, you don't really need flat armor too much, but I still pick up a little bit just to get a little bit more healthy out of my jungle clear. And then just have some scaling health to scale into the later stages of the game, where you just want to have a bit of a higher health pool. Because with the way you build, you're going to sustain a lot of that health, so having more health is obviously very beneficial. Then we move into the mastery page. This is the mastery page I run on Kha'zix. I go for sorcery, which is increased ability damage. Obviously, it's very useful in Kha'zix because you do a lot of damage with your Q, your W, when you jump into people. Also, your E will rack up to some damage, so sorcery is very, very useful. This is pretty useless on Kha'zix since attack speed doesn't really help you a lot. For people wondering, this is ability damage, not AP damage, so this damage with your abilities. I get this comment a few times, but it's just any type of damage you deal with any type of ability. Then you get fresh blood to have more burst damage, mainly. You don't need any of these other two. And then you pick up natural talent to be a bit more, a bit stronger in the early game. You can get a lot more base stats out of it, which is obviously very nice. And then I take double-edged sword on Kha'zix because it just increases damage. You can also take bounty hunter if you want, but I tend to lean towards this because it makes me stronger whilst clearing jungle camps, as well as just trying to burst champions in the early game. You get an initial 3% additional damage, which is better than just 1% or like nothing. So if you have that from the early game, more burst damage is obviously going to help you a lot. Then you take savagery, because single target attacks and spells deal 5 bonus damage to minions and monsters, which on Kha'zix is really important because you do with your Q and just auto attacks, you can do 3 quick camps, which could be blue, grump, and red if you want to gank fast. And then this will help you speed that up a lot, because you're gonna just deal so much more extra damage. It's gonna save you a couple of seconds per camp, which is pretty big. Then you take Assassin on Kha'zix because you look to 1v1 people a lot and get in those situations where you just catch them off guard and pretty much just one-shot them with isolation damage. So if you have that extra damage from Assassin, it's really gonna help you a lot. Then I take Merciless for obviously just a damage increase, very beneficial on Assassins. I take Dangerous Game because with the resets he has on his E, and if you just kill people with that, you're gonna get a lot of health and mana back, which is gonna really help you in sustaining fights. Combine that with the build I go for these days, Dangerous Game is really good to complement that and just help you survive a lot of fights. Then I pick up Intelligence because I want to get my CDR to 45%. I want to get as much CDR as possible so I can have more Qs up, more ultimates up, more Ws up, all that kind of stuff to sustain fights more, better. And if you have more Qs up, you're obviously gonna lifesteal more from the Death's Dance, which is the item I build. Then I go for Stormator Surge on Kha'zix. Stormator is very good on Kha'zix. If you it really helps you with positioning. Let me put it that way. If you're not too comfortable on the champion, and if you're lower elo, you can also go for Thunderlords. But if you're really comfortable on the champion and you're playing at higher elos, positioning is pretty much everything at that elo. So if you have Stormators, you can proc it more often and you can get better positioning from that. Thunderlords will help you. It's really easy. It's just straight up hit 3 spells and then you're gonna get a lot of extra burst damage. So if you want to use that, then up to you. I personally use Stormators because positioning is everything. Especially with the build I'm going for, positioning means a lot. Now, moving on to the item build for Kha'zix. I go for a Talisman start because you are using your Qs often, so you're gonna get a lot of spells off. This helps you sustain with that. Plus it also gives you a little bit of mana regen. Talisman isn't really gonna help you because the most damage is gonna come from abilities, which is your Q. And alongside that, you just pick up a refillable potion. It's more than enough sustain for Kha'zix to get through. You have your W to heal as well, plus your smite, which can heal you as well. So you should be completely healthy. You can easily full clear with this if that's something you want to go for. Could be good in certain matchups, but I would honestly not recommend fully clearing too much on Kha'zix. Anyway, first item you want to go for pretty quickly is the blues, like the Stalker Smite, and pretty much just rush a warrior, like buy double longsword on like the first bag. It just all depends on how much gold you have. If you have like 700 gold, you can just pick up a double longsword. If you have like exactly 650, you could pick up boots, like longsword, anything you want. It like as long as you just focus towards getting this red smite warrior, blue smite warrior enchant as fast as possible. That's the main thing. Then, obviously, you want to get some boots, like some regular boots early. In between, getting like your warrior is very beneficial since movement speed is going to help you quite a bit. The boots I usually tend to go for when I upgrade these boots are boots of swiftness with this build. The reason I go for that is because it will help me roam a bit faster. Like, it's not boots mobility style roaming, but it's still very good roaming potential. But the main thing is, it reduces slows, it helps you with positioning in team fights, combined with your Blue Smite, Storm Raiders, and your ultimate. You can really dance around people pretty easily, and you can get a lot of, like, kills that way. Really, the positioning is where it matters on Kha'zix, and that's where you have to get good at. So I really like Boots of Swiftness, but if I'm against, like, heavy CC, I would still pick up Mercs, and if I'm against full AD comps, I would still pick up Ninja Tabai. But usually, in, like, your regular game, I would go for Boost of Swiftness because I do prefer the positional advantage over the opponent, pretty much. Now, as soon as you get this is like a core type of build. The next item you want to go for is the Death's Dance. This is your 3-item core, or what I do on Kha'zix personally. This is what really like gives me a lot of wins, because like this is gonna give you so much sustain from a very early stage. You're gonna heal like 100 health per Q, which is a lot. That's a lot of healing you get from just queuing. And that's not taking into account W healing and your like auto attack healing as well. Plus the extra sustain from not getting one shot that Death's Dance offers you. Because it does reduce some of the damage and put it into dot damage onto you. Meaning you can sustain a lot more and you're not likely to get one shot that quickly. And that means a lot on Kha'zix because you are really squishy. And if you can avoid getting one shot, then that's really beneficial. Also, at this stage, I have the 10% for my Warrior Enchant plus the 10% for my Death's Dance in CDR. Then I have 15%, pretty much 15% from Runes and Masteries, which nearly caps me. And at that point, you just have to get 10% more CDR, which in most games, for me, comes in the item of a Maw of Mormorthius, which is, you can pick up the Clawfield's Warhammer earlier to get 10% CDR. But that's mostly the item I go for. It will give you a lot of defensiveness against mages. So you can, like, you're really not gonna get bursted with this. Plus, if the passive from this procs, you're gonna get even more sustain in fights. You're gonna get even more lifesteal. Combine it with Death's Dance, you're just gonna breeze through fights pretty easily. And if you have a blue buff, you can pretty much just sustain forever because you're never gonna run out of mana. And then with the healing you have, you're never gonna run out of health. So that's also very beneficial. If you are against a full AD comp, going for Maw of Mormorthius is obviously pretty useless. So in that situation, you will have Ninja Tabai at that point. So let me just quickly pull that up. So against like a full AD comp, this is like your core 3 items. And at that point, you can honestly just go for, you can go for damage if you want to, which could come in the form of anything really. You can get like a Duskblade going if you want. It's not really that good, but like Cleaver is usually the item I pick up, even though I do overcap my CDR with this. That's just unfortunate. It overcaps it by 10%, which is like, it just, yeah, whatever. You can also anticipate that from the start and just go for a different rune page, but I really wouldn't do that. It really doesn't matter too much. If you're against a full AD comp, all you really want to do is just get like a Cleaver with like a Death's Dance, and all you have to do at that point is just make it easy for yourself and just stack like 2 armor items like this, and then you're fine. It makes it really easy to itemize against that. This is going to give you sustain, this is going to give you the armor pen you want. This could also be a Lost Whisper, by the way, like it really doesn't matter. So if they have like a single, like if you're not going for a Maw with that other build, and if they're full AD, just do something like this. Man, it works. It just works. Like, you're not going to die, you're going to easily be able to sustain fights because of Death's Dance. You should be good. Even though you do overcap it a bit, so in that case, this could not be the best option. But if you go for a Lost Whisper, you're gonna not have max CDR, which could also suck, but that's completely on that side. Let me remove that and go back to the regular type stuff. So Boots of Swiftness and a Maw of Mormorthius is what's pretty much going to happen every single game. You're not too scared of AD champions right here, because honestly with Death's Dance and your just overall kiting potential, they're not really going to do anything, because most AD champions are sustained damage champions. So on that front, you should be able to out-sustain their damage most of the time and kite them a bit. The real thing you have to be scared of is getting bursted by mages, so that's why you go a Maw at this point, and that's also just why you go Death's Dance and all that kind of stuff. Now after this you have a couple of options. If they have a lot of CC, like targeted CC, like Malzahar Ultimate, or maybe an RE Charmer, anything like that, you can build into the QSS item. Doesn't work that way. Quicksilver Sash item, which upgrades into a Merc Sim. Honestly, it's going to give you a nice amount of extra magic resist, which again prevents you from getting bursted, which is the main thing you have to worry about on Kha'zix. Because mages are the ones bursting you. If you're against like a Riven, it's pretty easy to avoid a Riven, because you can just like position yourself around her. Don't position yourself with your teammates, and if Riven tries to fight you 1v1, you can just kite around her. You can use Merc Sim again to just cleanse or stun and get the positional advantage from the movement speed boost you get from this. There are a lot of things you can do, so really building armor isn't that good, isn't that great on Kha'zix. Magic resist and burst, avoiding burst is really where it's at mostly. Now this is what I usually get every single game. At this point, you do need a couple of things. You can get a GA, again, to be more safe. But if they're really stacking the armor and really stacking it up to avoid getting a lot of damage from you, this is where you really want to start picking up like the Mortal Reminder or either the Lord Dominic's, depending on the enemy team. If there are a bunch of squishies, then you can just pick up the Mortal Reminder. It prevents healing from them, which is going to make one-shotting and out-sustain fighting them really easy. But if you're against a lot of tanks, you obviously want to go for the Lord Dominic's Regards instead. Most of the games, I tend to get Mortal Reminder, because most of the games right now, I don't see too many tanks, but that might change with the mid-season update that's coming up soon. But it really just depends on your game. So, if you're against tanks, Lord Dominic's. If you're not against a lot of tanks, if you're maybe against like one tank and it's not really a threat, then you can just go Mortal Reminder to help you burst squishies a bit more. So that's pretty much the options, and at this point you can like sell your jungle item for a GA to be safer from that, but that's like, this is usually a final build, or like a final build could look something like this, a GA to avoid getting bursted later on as well. That's pretty much a full Kha'zix build. I would not recommend going for lethality anymore on Kha'zix, because it's just not that worth it. If you're gonna go for it, the only item I could recommend you to go for as like a lethality based item is Ghostblade instead of the Maw. I guess like full AD comps, that could be an item you can get instead of the Cleaver, because it does give you 10% CDR, which does mean that you cap your CDR perfectly, and then you can play with that. That's the only other item I could recommend to you guys, but I honestly wouldn't go for lethality anymore on Kha'zix. I really don't think it's that strong anymore, since it did get nerfed quite heavily, and yeah. That's pretty much my Kha'zix build right now. If you have any questions on that, make sure to ask them in the comments below. If you like this video so far, hit the like button, and let's get right into the gameplay now. Alright guys, welcome to the gameplay section of this guide. I have played this game on Kha'zix, and I'm just gonna do it, talk over it, and tell you what to do and what would be optimal in certain situations. So yeah, I'm jungling against Rek'Sai this game, which means that I can easily just clear from top to bot. He's not gonna invade me at all because it's Rek'Sai, so I have a really good chance there. If you can just get a couple camps off on Kha'zix, you are easily able to just get going in the game. So that's really what I'm looking to do right now. If you want to do quick ganks on Kha'zix, which is an option, you can also go for these three camps, which would be blue, Gromp, and then red buff, and then try to maybe gank like mid or bot lane. Lanes to focus on ganking this time around, this game specifically, are either top or mid lane, because they're the really easy ones to gank. Bot lane's kind of hard because they don't really have anything to gank. It's Graves AD carry with Karma, so they don't really have anything compared to Lucian Tarek. So I kind of want to try to leave that lane alone as much as possible and try to focus more on the other lanes. Alright, right now I noticed that Rek'Sai was top lane with 5 CS, which means he did blue into wolves into red buff. You can count the minions on that. That will equal the amount of 5. So that means his Gromp is still up, so I can easily go there, quickly take it on Kha'zix, because I'm Kha'zix and I do have a lot of isolation damage. Then I can take this as well. I would hit level 4 of that and probably look towards a mid gank right now, because he's kind of pushed. Ganking Malzahar when you have a Morgana on your team is really easy, because all she has to do is land a binding on the Malzahar and he's most likely to die. Alright, gank didn't happen here, so I'm gonna go back to clearing my jungle a little bit. Currently, Rek'Sai and me are even in gold, even though he did pull off a gank early. He did take a bit of CS in the top lane, I think. Actually, no. His Crocs were worth quite a lot. Darius even got the kill on top lane when they ganked, so that's even worse for them. Rek'Sai just lost his Gromp, and I'm gonna be able to just go to my Gromp now because it just respawned. And then clear down to Gromp Wolves and maybe look towards ganking the Malzahar again, potentially. Or maybe look for a top lane gank here. I'm not sure what I do right now. Probably just gonna clear my camps down a bit. On the Kha'Zix, you really want to try to get level 6 as fast as possible because that's a really big power spike for you. It gives you the isolation Q damage, like the massive Q damage evolve, which is gonna be really big. Alright, I think I look towards ganking mid right here. It is warded right there, I didn't know this, but like, it is not warded right here, so I'm not spotted right now. If Morgana gets the binding off on this guy right now, then he's a pretty easy kill, but I decided to just go in, poke him a little bit for like a quick burst damage. If I get a full rotation on him, he loses half his HP bar, and now I'm just gonna go back again whilst Morgana flashes in, and just ults him, and then he just dies for free. So after me forcing a lot of health out of the guy, then we just pick up a free kill like that. That's why you kind of want to return to certain ganks pretty quickly, because they should be free. Especially if your laner has a lot of packed in CC, like Morgana has with her Q or her ultimate, for example. And Malzahar doesn't have a shield up to block any of it. Right now I want to look towards going towards my blue buff, because it's gonna spawn soon. I want to pick that up. And after that, I probably want to look towards ganking Malzahar again, potentially, because he is very vulnerable. He does still have flash, though. He didn't flash earlier, but all Morgana has to do is land a binding. What I do instead here is invade this guy on his red buff. I see it's about to spawn. I think he's most likely around blue buff. That's what I thought in this situation, most likely, to give Malzahar the blue, but he was actually doing Crocs, and I can pick up a free red buff here either way. So I get away with that, and then just go back to full clearing my jungle, I would assume. Alright, no, Malzahar gets caught here and probably dies for it. Let me actually rewind that a little bit. Like, this is why I have Storm Raiders on Kha'Zix right now. Because this Malzahar walks up too far, gets Morgana binded. I burst him for a lot of his HP bar. I get my Storm Raiders, and I use my ultimate to get a lot of movement speed out of that. And then they just, like, he just dies. He can't get away from that. And Blue Smite also really good in Kha'Zix because it does give you the extra movement speed. So if you're going for a positional Kha'Zix with Storm Raiders and a lot of sustain in your build, then Blue Smite is definitely the optimal choice. If you do decide to go for like a burst type of Kha'Zix build, then I would highly recommend just going for the Red Smite instead, because it gives you more survivability. But with this build, it's definitely not necessary, and I would say this build is probably the best build in Kha'Zix right now. That's why I featured it in the build part early, and that's why I switched back to this build as well. Right now I'm just gonna go back to my jungle and full clear it. It is up. I just should take it. I should also look towards doing this dragon pretty soon, because it is an infernal dragon, which does give a lot of like pressure. Plus Kha'Zix is really good at doing dragons because of his Q damage isolation, so that's also something I have to take note of. Right now just full clearing down. Most likely going to skip the camp that is Crux, because that camp is bullshit. It just takes way too much time. It's kind of a waste of time, to be honest. You might as well just take like Scuttlecrab in the river as Kha'Zix, or like some of his Gromp camps or something. Look towards the dragon here. I think it was pretty free. I didn't think someone was going to be around here. Rek'Sai does show up and did try to contest the dragon, but it's really hard for him because I'm out-leveling him. Plus I am Kha'Zix, which means I outsmite him. Alright, I got the dragon here, and now this fight is probably going to happen, so let me slow it down a little bit. And I'm just following myself right now. Look at this, they're walking up a bit too far. That's a close binding. Probably not going to happen this fight here. I think I just recall and pick up my jungle item. I do have 1400 gold, so recall jungle item with maybe extra longswords or swiftness boots. What do I get here? Extra longsword. I didn't have enough for swiftness boots, most likely. No, I didn't. I pick up a pink ward as well, which is going to help me out a bit. Now here I want to kind of look towards going top lane, because you want to still get that first turret pressure. Darius has all the pressure on the Riven right here. So if I kind of look towards going either top lane or maybe just mid lane and killing this guy for his blue buff, then that will be optimal. Let's go back to myself. Speed it up a tiny bit. Alright, I'll look towards ganking Malzahar right here. He is a pretty free gank. If Morgana, all she has to do is land this binding right here, jump on him, and he pretty much dies in one hit. Taric ult didn't do anything for him there. Kha'Zix has a lot of burst damage, so it's really scary for him to deal with. At this point I look towards going top lane, because they are fighting right here, and I want to try to get in on his action. I didn't think Darius was going to win this one, but I can just easily walk up. There's a pink ward right here, so I can just walk into lane and probably just kill Riven. All I have to do is leap on her. I flash leap on her to save some time, because she could get out this way. it is Riven. She has a lot of hops, which means that could be annoying to deal with. That's why I just went for the flash on her and pretty much secure it. Alright, my blue is gonna spawn quite soon. I think I just push this into the turret and maybe go for the turret here. I would assume that's what I do, because Riven is still dead. She has Ignite, she has no teleport. Darius just teleporting in. We get a first blood turret right here, which is really good. After this, I'm probably gonna go towards my topside jungle and clear down. It's most likely, because my camps are up, might as well take them. Very optimal to do that. Let me speed it up a tiny bit again. I'm 4-0 right now. I'm currently sitting on about 1600 gold, which is a lot of money. So I should look towards potentially... Alright, actually I'm going for the redive on the Riven right here. She does have flash, but this Darius can easily just go on her, and I think we just go for it here. Malzahar flanks me. I didn't notice this, so he literally just goes on me. As soon as I wanted to do something, I pressed my ultimate so he can press his R on me, and then all I had to do was just try to leap out, but he did ult me after my first R timed out. It didn't risk anything too much though. Alright, I think Darius dies right here. Yeah, he dies right here. Alright, his red is up. I'm probably looking towards getting his red buff right now because it is pretty quick. Actually, yeah, I was thinking Malzahar would walk past me like a stupid idiot, honestly. That's what I was honestly thinking. There was a pink ward here, so I could just easily sit there. It wasn't warded. Malzahar was most likely going to go back to mid lane, so that's for the reason I just stayed in the brush and waited for Malzahar. After that, I can pick up a red buff. Rek'Sai is clearing my bot side jungle right now, which I probably assumed, but it didn't really matter because all he can take is like my Wraith camp and my Croc camp. Don't care too much about that. Alright, my top side jungle is up, so I probably want to get those. I should be like, I'm level 10 right now. Aim is to get level 11 pretty quickly here. Rek'Sai is bot lane. Let's speed this up again. I think I look towards getting the Rift Herald here shortly. Yes, right here. I'm going for Rift Herald. I think I asked Darius for some help just because, like, you can solo it on Kha'Zix pretty easily, but if he just helps me, it's kind of easier. Don't have to worry about anything too much. I didn't really have any smites up to tank a lot of the damage from it for healing and all that. Currently 5-0, have 2.3k gold, which is getting me close to my Death's Dance right there. Getting Rift Herald to Kha'Zix right now before they change him is really fucking OP. It makes his one-shot potential massive, so that's really nice. That's why I always tend to pick it up every game. Either I solo it or I just ask some of my laners to help me with it. Very optimal to go for the Rift Herald. Right now I just look towards full clearing. Graves takes my jungle camp here, so that's kind of unfortunate. Can't take that. But I guess he can have it. I'm just gonna walk down and take my Wraith camp into my red buff, I would assume. I'll speed it up again. I'm currently sitting on 2500 gold. And at this moment in time my Death's Dance costs about 3100. So I'm most likely looking towards getting that before I back, maybe. I might actually back and get components of the Death's Dance here though. Because at this point, backing is pretty smart after clearing this camp. I get level 11 here, get resets. Resets make this a very, very annoying build to deal with. Alright, fight breaks out, Rek'Sai goes on Morgana, Morgana ults Rek'Sai, then binds him and we get a free kill out of that, no problem. At this point I should have enough, yeah, I have enough for Death's Dance right now, so I should look towards backing. We pick up a turret here. I pretty much zone Lucian by walking forward. He can't walk to this turret, so we pick it up for free. This dragon just spawned, so we might look, probably look towards getting that before I back. Right, Rek'Sai isn't going to be close. Darius just killed two people on top lane, so this dragon is a really free pickup. It's a mountain dragon. It's a pretty good dragon, so you might want to get that. It's pretty important. I pick this up, and now I'm gonna recall and get a Death's Dance with probably Swiftness Boots. I'm guessing. Do I get Swiftness Boots? Yeah, I get Swiftness Boots right there. The reason I like Swiftness Boots a lot on Kha'Zix is because it reduces slowing effects, which is really useful. Combine that with the all the movement speed you get from Blue Smite and Stormator Surge, you can have a lot of positional advantage. Plus your ultimate also gives you a lot of mobility as well. So it gives you a lot of positional advantage on Kha'Zix, which is really, really good. And if you're going for like a sustain type of build, you can really do a lot in certain team fights, even if you don't get a lot of isolation or burst damage off on people. Alright, this is just simple pickups. Some out of position plays from the enemy. I'm currently 6-0-3, doing really well. This is Warda, I didn't know that. His red's gonna spawn soon, so that's what I was waiting for pretty much. Now I just go towards my topside jungle because my camps are up, most likely is what I do. Pick up a free Rift Scuttler right there. I smite it just to save some time. Blue's gonna spawn, probably gonna take that. There you go, pick up a blue buff, pick up that up. I'm sitting on 1200 gold right now, so I'm most likely gonna look towards backing quite soon. I might just go for the full clear on my jungle here though, I'm not too sure. like, it's either way, it's fine. Like, like, getting CS from your jungle camps like this is really good. Especially because Rek'Sai has a lot of, like, farm potential. He can farm pretty quickly. I'm not sure what I did there. I just randomly jumped in because I saw Rek'Sai walking. I probably didn't see anyone else. So I kind of risked my life on that one, actually. A pretty big mistake. You can't be too risky on Kha'Zix because you do... Like, you're very squishy, so you have to be very careful with your positioning. Lucian is going to try to dash towards me right here, but I'm pretty sure I just jump on this guy right now and one-shot him. Yeah, he's gone. Tried to fight there, which is a really big mistake on there, and didn't respect me at all. Get a free kill on the Lucian. Lucian's apparently spam pinging. Question marks. Must feel bad. Lucian is the main threat on our team right now. I pretty much shut down Riven together with Malzahar. So the only real target is Lucian. I'm sitting on 2300 gold right now, so I'm probably, like, I'm gonna be back in quite soon. Actually, I'm going towards my red buff right here. Graves is looking to take the red buff for some reason, but he's 1 in 4, so I'm really not gonna give that to him at all. That'd just be retarded. So... Well, like, if I'm 7-0 in 4, I'm not gonna give my red buff to a Graves 80 carry that's 1 in 4. That's just not smart. Same goes for mid laners. Like, if they're not doing well, don't just go and recklessly give them blue buff. You might as well just take it. Like, giving mid laners that are, like, inting mid lane pretty much, or, like, doing really poorly, it's just not worth giving them blue buff. Unless you're playing, like, Lee Sin, but then, even then, you still get energy regen from that blue buff, so it's probably still not even worth it in that case. Like, giving blue buff away like that, or, like, red buff away to people that are just doing nothing with it, is just a complete waste, and is a lot of missed power. Alright, I see Darius getting in some trouble here, so I'm walking upwards, pinging him that I'm on my way. Alright, Malzahar is going for the play here. As soon as Malzahar ults, I just jump on him. Alright, Riven is trying to get away here. I have a lot of movement speed potential and to chase her with, like, leaps and all that. She's still trying to run, but there's nowhere for her to really go. If Darius is just careful and doesn't give the kill here, that should be good. I hit Godlike here. Rek'Sai goes in. Takes pretty much isolation range from me, which is really, really, like, a big mistake to do against Kha'Zix. I have Death's Dance, so I can easily, like, infinitely sustain this fight until my mana pool runs out. Get another kill on him here. Timed my Q, like, mistimed my Q there, so he didn't take damage from it. And he pretty much just dies to a Darius ult, so that's another, like, nicely won fight there. I see his red buff is spawning soon, so I'm gonna walk towards that, obviously. Pick that up again. I think it's like the 3rd or 4th red buff I just took it from this guy in a row. I'm currently level 14, whilst this Rek'Sai is level 12. This has a lot to do with me just taking as much jungle camps as I could, plus, of course, getting kills. Alright, Darius is dead there, nothing I can do for him. Alright, my blue is gonna spawn soon, so I'm gonna look towards that. I have 1900 gold right now, so I'll probably look towards back and getting a Maw here. Is what I do. It's probably what I do, actually. Yeah, pick up a Maw there, and I pick up... What do I pick up? I pick up a QSS, yeah. That's actually a really good call here, obviously, because it builds into Merc, which is really useful for sustain, extra sustain, and a lot of extra movement speed as well. But QSS is really, really good against champions like Malzahar. Let me slow this down, actually, and rewind it a bit. QSS is really good against Malzahar, obviously, because he can ult you, and then if you just QSS that, you're good. But it also works against, like, Taric, which can, like, engage stun me and anything like that. But QSS is really, really solid item, gives you a lot of, like, potential. Alright. I just jumped in that brush because I saw Malzahar walk towards it. I thought I could maybe one-shot him. There is really no fear of me actually dying to the guy because I do have QSS to get out of his ultimate, so if he ults me, it doesn't matter. I didn't get the damage on him though because Riven showed up as well. Alright, Taric uses his ult here. I walk to the side, dodge it. Alright, I tried to engage on the Taric there to quickly get a kill and then jump out, but I made a mistake. Pretty much just jumping into 4 people, that was the mistake I made. So that was really not smart on my end, and that Rek'Sai picks up a triple kill here, and then actually they pick up a quadra kill here. That's all of my mistake there, like a really, really stupid mistake on just diving into 4 people as Kha'Zix without any vision. So that's really something I should avoid. They're gonna get Baron here most likely, but Darius is pushing bot lane, so we should be okay this game. It is not too bad. Like, I made a mistake, and it's really just my fault. I can't blame anyone else but myself for that one. As long as Darius picks up this inhibitor, whilst they get the Baron, we should be completely fine here. Them getting Baron is unfortunate, but it doesn't necessarily matter too much, because I am still very far ahead, even after I just made that mistake. The thing is, Rek'Sai, like, they killed me, and I was a lot of levels ahead, and with the way catch-up experience works, that's actually really unfortunate, because then they just get a lot of experience from me. They kind of need to fix that, in my opinion, because it's really broken right now. like, you can easily just play it perfectly, like I did this game pretty much, and just get a lot of kills, and then as well take a lot of CS. But then at certain points, they just you make one mistake, you die, and they get a lot of experience from you, like nearly a complete level, which is massive. Like, that's just stupid, honestly. So if you're doing really well, just try not to die. That's a really big thing, because you're gonna give up a lot of experience mainly if you die, and that's really not worth it. Like, that experience lead you have on people, if you're that far ahead with like 1 death or 0 deaths, try to not die. It might seem like stupid to just sit still for a while, but or like not do something in certain fights, but if you can't do anything, don't risk it. Alright, I see Rek'Sai here. I thought he was out of position, but then Lucian came down and he pretty much died for it again to a Lucian calling. Another mistake on my part, which is just positional mistake. Like, I can't make those you cannot make those positional mistakes on Kha'Zix. You're really squishy, so if you make any type of mistakes like that and you have no way of getting out, you're just gonna die instantly. You are able to sustain a lot of fights, but yeah, there's nothing you can really do to getting bursted. Like, if you miss position, you just get bursted. And they have Baron, they're pushing mid lane right now. All I can hope for right now is my team to just wave clear mid lane. He engages, Malzahar ults the guy, and he pretty much is gonna die here, I think. This engage was really not smart on his part. All they had to do was just wave clear on their turret, or just let the turret fall. That engage is never gonna really work out. I guess they stalled a little bit of time here, because this is pushing, so I guess it's kind of worth it for Darius to do that in that situation. But what I would have done in his shoes there is just wait it out a bit, and then as soon as you see the wave come in, just keep walking forward a bit and try to like slightly force a fight. It doesn't really matter if the fight doesn't happen, as long as you just prevent them from walking back. And then he could have probably done it without his life, but we still got the turret here, so it's okay. Alright, I'm back up. My mindset right now is just to play it safer, because I just made 2 stupid mistakes and died for it twice. So I really want to avoid that from happening next time. At this point, I decided to give the blue to Morgana, because I don't necessarily have a big use for it. Alright, next dragon that's spawning is the Infernal Dragon again, which is a really big dragon to pick up, so we're looking to fight over that right now. We are stronger than them still, because we're still ahead, and if I play the fight correctly, then I should be able to just, like, pretty much like 1v4, 1v5 it kinda, if I just position myself correctly and get a lot of free damage off. I got a free Q on the Taric right there. Alright. Riven is top lane right now, which is a really big mistake. She does not have teleport, which is, like, you cannot make that mistake as a top laner. If you don't have teleport, just be at the fights. Alright, fights breaking out right here. They're completely, like, cut off. Lucian is all the way there, and they're just pretty much just fighting like this. If he ults me, like, here, right there, it wouldn't have mattered, even if, like, I'm not sure if he had it up or not, but, like, it wouldn't have mattered because I still have QSS. Then they get caught out of position here and die. We pick up a free dragon off that. That's really just mainly off Riven's mistake of going top lane. Like, that fight could have been closer, but Lucian mispositioned himself by being on the other side. They weren't grouped, and Riven was top lane with Ignite, not with Teleport, which is another big mistake. Alright, currently I'm sitting on 1400 gold, which doesn't really amount to anything for me to buy right now. I could sell my potion, but yeah, it's probably not too best. Alright, they're off position here, so I'm kinda look to just probably jump over this wall and walk up. Yep, get a lot of movement speed going in. All I have to get here is, like, close enough. My leap is going to be up in 2 seconds again, so I can probably catch someone here. Lucian is walking the wrong direction. Riven walked the right direction there. But Lucian is trying to recall in the brush here, so I just walk up to him. We know that he's in that brush. Karma hit that. I can just walk in because he's not going to kill me. I have my Death's Dance to lifesteal, plus I have ultimates to kite them. So you can, if you have Death's Dance, you can literally just walk into an AD carry like that. You're really not going to die because you're going to have a lot of lifesteal potential, plus you can use your ultimates to avoid them from auto-attacking you. They cannot place pink wards or anything to spot you either, so that's really useful. I'm currently level 16, got my 30 Evolve a little while back, I think. And right now I need to have 2400 gold to buy my Merc Sim. That's what I'm looking to get here. That upgrade is going to give me even more sustain in these fights, because it's going to give me more lifesteal and like auto attacks and all that, which is really useful. It looks like they're really out of position here. Rek'Sai goes towards me. Takes a lot of free damage from that. I did get stunned from Taric there. Darius picks up the kill. I used my W to slow Riven there. I mean, this fight, like, we can literally just push right now. Rek'Sai is dead. That's one of their, like, big champions. Riven is pretty useless at this moment in time, and Malzahar is really only there to ult. So we're looking to pick up this turret in mid lane right now. Trying to, like, stay to the side a bit more. I'm kind of low on mana. I was looking towards that blue if it was potentially up, because I'm pretty sure it showed on my minimap as being up. Tarek prevented me from recalling here. I do have my Merc Sim, so I'm kind of looking towards backing before the Baron, I would assume. Fight's breaking out. Tarek walks in, gets caught. Try to leap on him to get, like, an assist for, like, a reset on potentially Lucian right after. Rek'Sai's trying to flank us behind, but since Tarek walked in, we can just literally pressure this turret for free and pick it up. Lucian gets binded by Morgana, really nice binding from her. I get ulted by Malzahar, I do believe, and then I use my QSS to get out of it. Not sure if I was the one that got ulted there. Actually, I can rewind and check. Let's check what happened here. Alright, Lucian gets binded. I jump on Lucian. I pretty much one-shot him. I think Malzahar ulted me there, but I QSS'd it, or he cancelled his own ultimate. Then Malzahar was waiting for him to get out of his Zonias and then pick up the Riven as well, from some resets, get a triple kill. And then we pretty much aced him right here. Do we look to end right now? I assume we just look to end. I think this is just game. I pick up the inhibit here as well, I guess. I'm not sure why, but maybe just waiting for some minions actually. And I think this is where we just end the game. So as you can see, like on the Kha'Zix, you mainly want to just make sure that when it comes to early game, try to get some ganks off. You do have a lot of burst damage. Try to focus on lanes that just have a lot of CC potential, so you can get freer ganks off. Because you have to remember, on Kha'Zix, you do not have any hard CC yourself. So if you have lanes that do have hard CC, those are easy ganks and should be ganks you should look towards. And apart from that, the main thing on Kha'Zix is just to position yourself correctly and don't dive into enemies if you like can't sustain out of it. Having the Stormraiders Death's Dance built with a Blue Smite does help me a lot in positioning myself around team fights and getting me a lot of like reset kills potentially and like catches on people, because I am really fast with my movement speed and I'm able to get in and out of fights really quickly. That's mainly the thing you want to do in Kha'Zix, like get to the side a bit and then win fights like that. Never engage, always use your team to engage, or like use your team as bait if like your team is pretty useless, but that's pretty much how you play Kha'Zix. If you have any questions, make sure to ask them in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, please remember to hit the like button as well, and subscribe for more. See you guys in the next video. Bye!